Okay, welcome to Maya 15-minute crunch. Okay, in this video what I'm going to do is show you how to navigate around in Maya. I've already done a video on setting the project, so if you haven't set your project, make sure that you set a new project, and we'll just set that as that. And what I want you to do is I want you to go to the Modelings tab. Now my layout is set up by default, so to the standard setup, so make sure that you're on the standard setup. Go into polygons. We've got inside these polygon shapes, we've got these basic shapes. Now from these basic shapes, pretty much anything can be modelled, and it's a good starting block. So the first one we'll look at is the sphere. So we click the sphere here, we can see that we've created a simple sphere. Now to be able to navigate around, what you need to do is you need to press the Alt key, yeah, and then click outside the model with your left mouse button, and you can rotate around. Now if you hold the Alt key and you press the middle mouse button, you can translate from side to side, up and down, okay? And if you press the right hand mouse button, you can, while holding the Alt key, you can move in and out. So hold the Alt key, you can move around, left mouse button, translate left and right, up and down, and right mouse button, zoom in and zoom out. Now that's the basic navigation, and from that navigation you can get anywhere. Now when you look at this, you'll see that it's one screen, but if I press the space bar, you'll see it reverts to 4-screen layout or quad layout. And this basically gives you a top view looking down, okay? And this gives you a front view looking at it in the front view or along the Z plane. And looking from the side view gives you this side plane, or looking down the X. Now when I say X, Y and Z, if you look down here, you'll see there's a Y axis. Y axis is up and down, okay? This X axis is horizontal, and the Z axis is the depth. Yeah, so using these viewports you can get to them, and if you press the space bar over any of these windows, you can zoom in and out on those. So you just put the mouse over that, press the space bar, and it will just bring that one up, which is good for jumping around. You can manually do it over here as well if you hit this and you hit this, yeah, but it's much quicker if you get used to using the space bar to click in and using the space bar to click out. Now I would say with the top views, or these orthographic views as they're called, you cannot tumble around, so you cannot use your left mouse button and tumble. You can see orthographic views cannot be tumbled, so you cannot tumble around like this because it's flat view, okay? You can still translate left and right with the Alt key held down, middle mouse button, and you can still zoom in and out, Alt key held down, right hand mouse button, but you cannot tumble around. Okay, so now another thing to look at inside of this is if I click this, you can see this is all flat and smooth and nice, but you can see when I click on it to select that object, you'll see there's little lines appearing. This is the actual mesh itself. Now it's sometimes handy to be able to look at the mesh, so you can come up to some of the shading options and choose wireframe. This gives you the wireframe without the solid overlay. Smooth shade gives you the smooth shade. You've got also wireframe on shaded, which is a common one that I use, so you can see both the smooth shade and the wireframe. Okay, so that's basic viewports there. You've also got X-ray where you can see through the object, which is sometimes quite handy, and other things in there, but they're the main ones that you will use. Now also inside of these basic geometric shapes that we've got up the top here, we have some options by using the attribute editor up the top. If you just click here, you'll open up the attribute editor. If you go into the polysphere and the polysphere shape, you have different options. If we now go to polysphere, you can see that we can set the radius, bringing it up or down. We can also set the subdivision axis, so we can set how many divisions are available to you. Putting more detail in there obviously makes the file a lot bigger and a lot more dense, and obviously putting it like this is quite rough. You can see the actual sides of the shape. However, if you click the object and you press 3 on the keyboard, you can have a smooth preview. So it basically creates what's called a subdivision almost, and gives you a smooth preview. If we press the 1 key, it will take you back to what it was before. If you press the 2 key, it gives you a kind of look at both the rough preview as a kind of hull and the smooth preview put together. Press 3, smooth preview. 4 is wireframe, such as up here, yeah? like, you know. And that's all you need to know, really. So that's how to navigate around. All of these objects have different settings you can set under the subdivision height and axis. So they've all got their own little things that you can adjust as you're going through. Now, to move an object around in 3D space, we can use some of the tools that are up here. The first one I'm going to use is just this move tool here. This will give us like an axis point. If you click and hold the middle, you can drag it anywhere. So you can come around here and just drag the middle. If you want to drag in a certain axis, you can just drag that axis, such as the z-axis there. You can see the z-axis because it's blue and it's pointing that way. Or the green axis, which is the y-axis, which you can see down there. Or you've got the x-axis, which you can move along there. Now, inside of these other views, you can also move stuff around and up and down. And also then we can move on to the rotate. If we click the rotate, you can see that I can actually rotate these on those axes as well. So I can rotate it there on the z-axis, on the x-axis, and on the y-axis as well. Yeah, remember the axis goes up through the middle and it's rotating around that axis point. Okay, so that's the rotate. You can also got the scale key here, which you can click. You can scale it on these axes as well. If you want to scale it uniformly, you can press and hold the middle one. Yeah, if you need to go back, just a little tip here, press the control key, hold it and press the Z once, and it will take you back one step. So if I accidentally do something like that, I can get it back by pressing Control Z. Okay, so if you go into some of the other options now, if I just select this and hit the backspace to delete it out, we can go into the cube, and you'll see under some of the cube options that we can actually start to put more divisions, and we can also adjust the width and the height, etc. via this. Yeah, we can also add more subdivisions on the height and more subdivisions on the depth. Yeah, and the same for this. If we want to go and change some settings under this, make sure you're in the attribute editor, have the polysphere up, and you can see we can start to put subdivisions along there, along the height. We can put caps in there along the top, and we can also have subdivisions around it as well. Next we have the cone, which is here. Come into the polycone, make sure again you've got the attribute editor available to you, and you can click and add parts on there. You can see I can put some caps on the bottom as well if you want to. So real flexibility. The last one I'm going to look at here is, well, there's a few more, but I'm just going to show you this. This is the flat plane. This is used quite a lot, and you can again set the divisions on there. It's just one flat face, but it's good, it's handy to have. And next one, let's have a look at this, which is the torus or the donut. Inside here we've got some different options. We've actually got a radius in here, and we've got an inner radius as well. So you can play around with them and adjust the cone to your liking. So you can also put a twist on it as well. We just bring that down to there. You can see if I do the subdivision axis, we can add more axis to it, and obviously on the height we can add more as well. So let's get rid of that. Just use the pyramid. So the pyramid option here, we again can add more subdivision levels. We could add caps to the bottom if we wanted to. And of course you can say the scale length size as well. Yep, get rid of that one. Okay, this is like the poly pipe. So again, this is a bit like the donut or the torus. If you go into here, you can change this radius to give you a nice thin, almost a thin wall. We could then make the height bigger, and we could come into here and play around with this subdivision height. And of course we can put caps along the top and increase the sides as well to make it smoother. Alright, so that's a basic look at Maya, all of these basic tools along here and their options for changing, as well as moving and looking at the viewports inside of Maya. Welcome to UKOnlineTrainingCentre.com. Now, I just wanted to tell you about my website. If you visit my website, you can get a lot of good deals direct from me. So get in the loop and visit UKOnlineTrainingCentre.com, where I'm going to be offering discounts and coupons, latest news and previews, live webinars and podcasts for 2017. So it's a really good way to directly get in touch with me and see the latest goings on all of the courses that I create. Now remember, I also create the monster training courses as well. So UK Online Training Centre is a combination of all of my courses all in one place, and I'm going to be offering loads of new features for 2017. So hopefully you check me out and see what's all going on in the world of UK online training.